Hi everybody. Today I've got an interesting video for you guys. Today I made if you guys caught the first episode where I talked about the Mighty Marvel Superheroes Cookbook, I found this thing and basically I decided to make some recipes for it, and I was going to turn it into a playlist. I was going to make a big long video where I made some food and bring everybody together. It didn't work out like I thought it was. Not the food. The food actually turned out pretty good. It didn't look good, but it tasted good. Oh my god, let me just show you. Okay, basically, I found this book called The Mighty Marvel Superheroes Cookbook, and I decided I was going to make recipes for it for a playlist. I was going to do a playlist. Each video was going to be a recipe from this thing, and I was going to shoot the experience and show it to you guys. Sort of like a review, sort of like seeing if it was really good or not. Not that I'm going to turn this into some kind of cooking show or anything. I'm not turning into a food channel. I don't think I have the skills for that. I barely had enough skill to pull this one off. But, yeah, this is the story of my foray into the Mighty Marvel Superheroes Cookbook. And this time we made Minutemen, steak, and onions. So Minutemen, steak, and onions is basically, how do I put this? It's just steak and onions, but the steak is breaded, and you're supposed to fry it in butter. So in total, that's 4 pieces of ingredients you need. You need the steak, you need the butter, you need the onions, and then you need the breading. Okay? Apparently, this is something that Captain America loves to eat. Which, I mean, I was talking about it with my cameraman while I was shooting this, and it makes sense that Captain America would love to eat this because it very much is like a very simple, relatively cheap. I think I spent like $10 on the whole thing, including the steak, only $1 for an onion, about $1's worth of butter, and then the breading was like $1, you know? So about $5 on steak, and then another $3, $8 total was about what I spent making this meal. And you get a fairly generous amount of steak. It's, you know, maybe 3 or 4 servings of it. You can chop that shit up with some onions and serve it out. I can see why Captain America loves this. Loaded with protein, which was pretty good. It was good for fueling my workout. And it was very filling, surprisingly filling, I think, due to the butter. The butter adds a nice bit of fat in there, which keeps you full for a while. So this is very much like a 1920s, 1930s meal. You know what I mean? Like, this is very much like Depression era. Well, they wouldn't have steak in the Depression, but you know what I mean? It'd be something that they would eat back in the day when before Captain America was frozen in ice. And I hadn't made that connection, but I do now, and it makes sense. So immediately, I got down to preparing my ingredients. I got some butter, threw it in a skillet, okay? I got the steak, decided to cook it whole. At first I wanted to chop it up, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna cook it whole. And I got these floured breadcrumbs kind of thing, like a shake and bake kind of deal, but it turns out it's just breadcrumbs, and that there's not really a flour or adhesive agent. And the recipe does not ask you to do eggs. Usually eggs would be like your binding agent. You dip the meat in the eggs, then you cover it in breadcrumbs and flour, and it's good. This recipe says no. Dip that bitch in the breading, fry it in the butter, cover it in onions, and that's it. So that's what I did. Started off with some steak, put it inside the breading, made sure both sides were coated, filled the skillet with some butter, and then afterwards I just planted the steak right there, just right on top of it, chopped the onions into rings, and then covered it. That was it. About 10 minutes later, I cooked it 5 minutes, flipped it, cooked it another 5 minutes on both sides. About 10 minutes later, as long as you're cooking it on like medium-high heat, comes out pretty good. As long as you're not doing a steak that's too thick. they tell you in the recipe book, now here's the thing, they tell you you need to buy minute steaks. I don't know what a minute steak is. I don't know if that's some shit they had back in the 60s or the 70s, a goddamn minute steak. You know, I considered buying steakums, which are like these little like super thin like lunch meat type steaks. But I was like, nah, fuck that, I want a steak. Captain America would eat a goddamn steak. He's got to fuel his workouts, he's got to, you know, he's got all kinds of muscle mass he's got to worry about. That fool's eating fucking steak. So I bought some actual steaks, not too thin, about a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch thick, no more than that, or else you're not going to get the full cooking. You don't really want these things to be rare because they're breaded. You want them to be closer to well done. So you just do it like that, cook it in the butter, and here's the thing. It doesn't tell you to, but you need to add fucking salt. You need to add some goddamn salt. You can salt it before it goes in the pan, you can salt it while it's in the pan, doesn't matter. Salt it lightly, both sides. The salt is gonna glaze over, it's gonna mix with the butter and the breading, and it is gonna create a wonderful flavor. That is what saved it in the end. So I'm cooking this thing, and I'm goddamn cooking this thing, and it's fucking coming out horrible. It looks horrible. It looks like a monstrosity. I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm fucking it up. This is the inaugural episode of this cookbook series I wanted to do, and I am fucking this thing up. And lo and behold, even though it looked terrible, I slapped that bitch on a plate, took a bite, and my god, it's fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. It's rich, it's full of protein, it gives you energy. I don't really know what the onions are there for. They don't add anything to it, but the steak was fantastic. You get that taste of butter. It's slightly crunchy from the breading. And as long as you add salt, you're eating good. So that was it for the first episode. We did pretty good. I'm looking forward to more episodes of this stuff. There are some recipes that I want to do. Right off the bat, what I can think of immediately is there's Doctor Strange's mystery soup, which is kind of crazy. There's some hamburgers. There's a Hulk burger. There's a Thor burger. Apparently the Thor burger has corn in it. You're gonna put corn inside the beef. I don't know. There's like Shang-Chi's rice and chicken dishes. There's like a really great meatloaf that I want to try. It's supposed to be what is that guy? The Giant Man meatloaf. I mean, this cookbook is incredible. If you want to see, go back to issue 1. I mean, not issue 1. I keep calling them issues because I love comics so much, but go back to the first video in this playlist. It's titled The Mighty Marvel Superhero Cookbook, and watch that video, and I go through all the recipes on there, what I want to do and everything, and oh my god. I started out, when I was cooking this, and I was really discouraged. I thought to myself, I am fucking this up bad. But after tasting that steak, I'm like in it now. I'm in this shit. I want to do some more cooking, you know, so anyway, stay tuned for that. I think the next one is going to be Doctor Strange's mystery soup. It's probably just stew, you know. I don't think it has any meat in it. I'm throwing some meat inside Doctor Strange's soup. I need that goddamn protein, you know. I'll throw a fucking whole ass roast in there. But anyway, that's it for this recipe. I hope you guys like it. Give it a shot yourselves. God, can I even link it? Can I even legally link this thing? I don't even know. I'll put the recipe down inside at the very least, I'll put the recipe in there. Maybe I can put like a JPEG of the Minutemen thing, but yeah, I'll put the recipe down there. You guys should try it. Give it a try yourselves. Let me know in the comments how it goes. But for now, that's it for this recipe. Don't worry, there's more to come. If you liked cooking this meal with me and you want to cook more meals with me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, nerds, stay heroic.